So the front has a pear and it like the fruit, and it says, we make a great pair. And on the inside, it just says, thank you so much for, working with us. We loved, we enjoyed it, whatever. And then invites them to lunch. And I mean, I'm having lunch with, they're like, people are now reaching out to me, which is so funny. And the irony of it all, I'm never going to talk to anyone. The universe was like, yeah, you don't have to, they're going to call you. So now people call me and they're like, hey, we see what you're doing. We see you on social media. Can I just have lunch with you and just pick your brain? And that's always how it's approached, is like, it's never about Keller Williams and it's never about the brokerage. I just let them talk the whole time, like about their business. And then they'll say things like, how did you even know what a 36, I don't know what that means, or how did you know how to do this? Or when did you? And I'm like, not to get all Keller Williams on you. And I didn't know any of that until I came here.
Welcome to the Profit Share Mastery Podcast with your hosts, Linda and Press McKissick.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Profit Share Mastery. I'm Linda McKissick.
I'm Press McKissick.
Hey, Press. How are you?
I'm doing great, Linda. We've got an awesome guest with us this time.
And we're so excited. We love talking about profit share, don't we?
Yeah, it's our favorite topic.
It is our favorite topic. So yes, if you will, why don't you, Brittney McAllister is with us from Omaha, not Oklahoma, Press. Thank you. And so Brittney, I always like to say Cliff Note version, of course, but you were born and then what happened?
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. Definitely excited to be on here talking with you guys. Cliff Note version, I was born, my mom got into real estate when I was 11. And so from that day on, I was super pumped. I knew I wanted to be a real estate agent when I grow up. And so that was what I did. I ended up going to school for marketing and business marketing, and then got my real estate license in 2015. I was 21 years old. I'm still living in my mom's basement and ready to sell houses. So that was 7 years ago. And now here we are, and I get to hang out with you guys.
So you said before on our call, before we started recording, you said that you actually started with another company. Yes. And kind of came to Keller Williams kicking and screaming. So I always think it's a good idea because, what our goal is with this podcast, Brittney, is to, number one, make people aware of what an amazing gift profit share is. And we all need to be taking more advantage of it. And we need to realize we're doing something for someone, not to them. And that really building profit share is doing something while you change people's lives. And so let's kind of go back to that journey. Where were y'all at in production at the time when someone called on you? Who called on you? Why'd they call on you? All that stuff.
Yeah. So my mom and I were on a team at the time. I was on her team. It's kind of funny, when we made the switch, we ended up like no longer being on a team. Obviously I love my mom, and we both kind of wanted different things for our business. So in 2015, she had been at the same brokerage her whole career at that point. In 2017, when we made the switch, and crazy enough, it was the number one brokerage in Omaha, who's owned by Warren Buffett, who has carries.
I've heard of that guy.
Carries a pretty big name here in Omaha, and so that office is still currently number one in Omaha. Has a gazillion agents. And at the time that we were ready to make a move, it was more of a personal decision. We knew there was some stuff coming down the line. The office was going to continue to get, bigger and bigger and a little bit less personal. And so we wanted to make a change. And my mom was, which I'm sure you can attest, my mom was obsessed with making sure that I was going to be successful in real estate. And she's like, I just want you to go where that could be possible, where that's happening. And so we took a meeting with our Keller Williams Greater Omaha, and Chris Benson was the team leader at the time. And I had been dodging calls from Chris Benson for quite some time. He is the most persistent person. And I tell him that all the time. I'm like, he was always calling me, and I was like, you have to leave me alone. I'm never leaving. And so when my mom, at that point, she had made the decision, like, we are going somewhere, we're going to decide today. And so we went into our Keller Williams office. I distinctly remember this day. We walked in, they had ordered us lunch. And so we're sitting there, we're eating lunch, and I'm just thinking, like, there's no way I'm not coming here. And I didn't know why. And I literally had zero reason to back it. I had never heard of Keller Williams, aside from Chris. And I really just didn't know anything about it. And so at the end of the meeting though, my mom, who was with us, and then my stepdad, who is in commercial real estate, they were like, we're going to sign up. Like, Brittney's got time now. She can sign her paperwork now, and then we'll come back later and sign. My mom like gives me a hug. She's like, all right, you're in good hands. Go ahead, start signing. And they walked out of the room, and I was like, oh my gosh. And my phone was ringing, and it was our broker at our other office. And like all of a sudden it was like, you would have thought I was like the most important person at that, my phone's blowing up, people are calling and texting, and oh my gosh, how could you leave your family? They're saying all these things. And I'm bawling. And the poor MCA at the time, she's like, okay, sign here. There's like tears. We always joke now that like, I literally can't imagine my life not being at Keller Williams. Now we joke, I'm like, we need to get out those papers. And like, there's gotta be actual tears like on the pages. I was just kind of a brat.
So,
I didn't like change.
Brittney, what did you realize once you got here and experienced it? What did you realize?
I was obsessed. So I realized that and there's nothing wrong. I just didn't know what I didn't know. It was all about perception. What I thought I knew was totally different than what the world of Keller Williams is. And just like coming here and like opening my mind to, okay, this is what I know I want. This is what I want to go build. And I had never seen anyone do that where I was at before. And so, where I was at, it was kind of like, well, if you sell 10 million, you're so great, we'll give you this award and you're doing great, and just keep doing that. And then, I came to Keller, and 10 million's like a drop in the bucket. I'm like, oh my gosh, like these people are doing so much business. They're changing so many lives. And that was a mindset shift for me, was looking at growing a team, not as my own personal, like it wasn't about me. It's about how can I change the lives of the people on my team. And so that's totally where my focus has gone. Cause I actually didn't want a team. I would tell everyone, I'm just going to sell all the houses by myself. That's all I want. And now I literally can't imagine doing this by myself. / I would never be where I'm at today without the team I've built. So,
yeah. Well, it's that we talk about that real estate agent mindset versus you come to KW and get exposed to what it means to be a business owner. And we've got people on all ends of the spectrum. Some people still choose to never build a team, and that's awesome. And then you've got some people who are like, based on where I want to go, I only have 24 hours and I need leverage in my life. Right. So that's the route they go.
Press, I've thought of a couple of things. When I ask people, when I'm teaching profit share in offices, I ask them, one of the first things I ask everybody when we're talking about profit share is, how has your life been enhanced or changed? And 9 times out of 10, thinking more like a business person is one of the things that comes up, that's how their life has been changed. And then I always ask, well, now, why do we decide that that's enough lives changed? Why are we not out changing other people's lives? And then the other thing that I think about when I hear Brittney say all this is, from the outside looking in, we're hard to understand. And from the inside looking out, we're hard to explain. And there's just no way someone could have explained to Brittney what really was inside KW. That's why you want to get them into opportunities so that they experientially get it. Because I think Brittney's approach to KW would have been different had she got to experience a few of those things rather than being drug into the office and say, sign the paperwork. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Brittney, talk about your profit share journey. So you got here, it sounds like you make a decision with your mom. Y'all kind of have different goals. So you go over here, you start building a team. Linda and I hear through the grapevine, that's why you're on the podcast, that you've started leaning into all things KW. So talk about that journey of leaning in and then finding out about profit share and what that journey's looked like for you.
Yeah. So that was part of, and Chris Benson would be he could echo all of this. So in addition to my kicking and screaming, and I'm not going to do that. My second piece of that was, I am not talking about profit share. I will not talk to anyone about Keller Williams. I'm never doing that. I am selling houses. Like I was such a brat. I was like, if anyone asks me, I'm literally not telling them. Like, it was so weird. Like the things I had heard and the things that I had, just all the stuff I had built in my mind around sharing, and being transparent and helping others grow. Like, it's just so crazy now to think back. Like, I always say, like, I wish I would have journaled back then, because I think I would have gone back and like seriously laughed at the stuff I thought. So that was part of it. I was like, I am not telling anyone about this place. Like if they hear about Keller Williams, it's not going to be for me. And which again, just hilarious. So now, yeah, in my first in the first year, I took Bold 3 times.
Wow.
And I couldn't get enough of it. It was the mindset stuff I was like so craving. Like that was the business and all the things that I had wanted for so long. And like, it just gave me like a sense of direction that I didn't really know existed in real estate. So I took that, and then just coaching and like doing all of those things, and started building my business. So then in 2020, that was a crazy year, of course, for everyone. And I had a lot of personal stuff going on in 2020, with some health things with my dad. But I had already set my goal. And so I knew that I was going to hit my goal regardless. I'm like, okay, we got to keep my dad alive. We got to go sell all these houses. And so in 2020 is when I felt like that was kind of my breakout year. I went from 43 transactions the year before to 81 transactions in 2020. Wow. And that was just me at that point in time. And then in 2021 started adding on, the buyer's agent. We then had, I took on a builder. So a lot of this, okay, sorry, should pause. A lot of this was, at this point in time, I knew I loved Keller Williams. It was no longer kicking and screaming. It was no longer, I don't want a team. It was, I want to go help so many more people build really cool lives. But I knew that I had to do it with my own business first so that I could go tell other people about it. Because for me, yeah, I'm very walk the walk, talk the talk. I couldn't go tell people, come here, your life will change. I needed to go do it first. And then so I could like reach back and pull everyone up with me.
That's awesome. That's so good.
I have a question real quick though, back to the way you were thinking about not talking to people about profit share and all that stuff. Did any of what your old managers or any brokers or anybody had told you before play into that?
For sure.
Or did you just create that yourself?
Well, yes, right. A little bit of both. So I kind of grew up in real estate, since I was 11. So it was just one of those, like, I don't know if anyone directly said to me like, hey, profit share is this like schemy thing, there was never like an actual conversation. It was just stuff I had like thought I gathered, I guess, and put together. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to talk about it. Like, yeah.
Well, Brittney, I love your approach to it too, because it's why Linda couldn't go out and sell. We talk about this all the time. You can't go and sell people on KW. Like you can't just come and sell, like what's that snake oil salesman or whatever, right? Like that doesn't work. The way the people that I've seen grow their profit share the most, or been able to influence people to join KW, it's from personal experience. It's from their life being transformed. And I love that approach.
Well, that's what gives them validity.
That's right. You had to experience it first in order for you to be able to feel good about going and talking about it.
Yes. And what was so funny is so in 2021, I take on this builder, which the only reason that opportunity opened up for me was because I had built this big team. Well, there's 3 of us, built this team. And so I started doing new construction, and that opened a world of other opportunities. And so all of a sudden we're doing so much business. I say we, it says my name on the MLS, and it's all of us. It's the team behind it. So then, then my phone starts ringing. Like we have a system in place now for co-op agents. So, throughout the transaction, just touching on them, saying, like, hey, hope everything's going well. When the transaction is done, kind of planting the seed. When the transaction's done, we'd love to get coffee, or we'd love to get lunch and talk about your business. And then when the transaction closes, Liv sends out a postcard, or a card rather, that, it's kind of cheesy and it's so us. So the front has a pear and it like the fruit, and it says, we make a great pair. And on the inside, it just says, thank you so much for, working with us. We loved, we enjoyed it, whatever. And then invites them to lunch. And I mean, I'm having lunch with, they're like, people are now reaching out to me, which is so funny. And the irony of it all, I'm never going to talk to anyone. The universe was like, yeah, you don't have to, they're going to call you. So now people call me and they're like, hey, we see what you're doing. We see you on social media. Can I just have lunch with you and just pick your brain? And that's always how it's approached, is like, it's never about Keller Williams, and it's never about the brokerage. And
Yep.
so then I meet with them and I tell my team leader, it's like, I'm like, it's kind of like a needs analysis, but on the agent side.
Yep.
I just let them talk the whole time, like about their business. And then they'll say things like, how did you even know what a 36, I don't know what that means, or how did you know how to do this? Or when did you? And I'm like, not to get all Keller Williams on you. And I didn't know any of that until I came here. And then it's just like second nature, like,
Love it.
and so then that's what gets that conversation. It's never, me talking about how, that they should come to Keller Williams. There's always something in their business that I know there's something at Keller Williams that would enhance or make better. Yeah.
So, okay. So I have to
Love
share, Brittney, you may not know, Linda and I teach in our program, we teach what we call Linda's magic formula. And I want to just walk you through that because literally it's like, as you're talking, I'm like, she did that. She did that. She did that. So it's relationships plus validity.
Yep.
Plus what we call value gaps. Those are, like you said, the needs analysis part.
Yeah.
What are the things over time? That's the formula that leads to influencing people to make a move to KW. And you said it perfectly. It's not about KW. It's about them, their business, and where they are. And then you just get into a relationship with them. You have validity because of what you're doing in the marketplace. So that invites them into being interested to hear what you have to say. And Linda, I love this. Linda always says it's about two parts. You're both interesting and you're interested, right? Like they're interested in what you're doing, but you're also interested in them and what they're doing as well.
Yeah. There was a couple times like I had lunch and we're talking. And then at the end, like I knew what she wanted. Like she wanted me to invite her. Like she wanted me to do something with the information I had given her. And it was like, oh, and I'm like, okay. And so we paid the check. We're literally standing up and I grabbed my bag and I was like, hey, do you just want me to like set up a free coaching or something like with my team leader? And she was like, oh my God, I would love that. And it was like, I'm like, I almost walked out of the door without saying anything, and so I was like, I just was like, hey, I'll just start a group text and then you guys just set up a time. She's like, that would be amazing. And so then of course I get in my car and I call I'm like, hey, I got to leave. Like I get excited for him. It's like, just as our clients get excited when they have a referral, I get excited when it's like, that's essentially what it is a referral. So that was a couple of times that happened where I'm like, duh, it's like hitting you in the face and you're like, would you like to come here? Like, it's like, this can't be this easy, right? Like,
I love it. I love this. And another thing that we always say, Brittney, in our class is we're not good enough to make a seller sell, a buyer buy, or an agent join. The thing we can do is get them to a place where they self-discover that whatever their dreams and goals are can be better met over at Keller Williams. And that's exactly what you did. And you could almost see her, wanting that. And you could just feel and sense that she just wanted you to help her get that. I love it because she's the epitome of our formula. And we didn't even know who you were until Mark Olish told us about you, but I'm about to die over here.
We do now. We're keeping an eye on you. You're a rock star.
Hey, maybe we could have her talk to our Profit Share Mastery course. That'd be good too.
I would love that. Yeah.
Awesome.
So Brittney, talk about, okay, so you start doing this and have you had success with it? It sounds like it's worked. So is there anything you want to share on like how many people you've sponsored in or just anything else on the journey of Profit Share?
Yes. And I don't have it in front of me. Again, what I don't focus on is, it just is happening. And I should probably know my numbers around that. So I don't know the exact like number in my downline. I'm sure we can look it up somewhere. And I think this year, so I could probably count this year at least. So there's been 1, 2, 3. There's been 4 this year.
Wow.
And those were 3 of them were like already producing agents. So it was, which is so cool. And it doesn't matter. I mean, if someone that's selling 0 could come here and change their life the same way as someone who's selling 50 million. And it was cool for me because I had a limiting belief that I had told me, no one that's selling a ton of houses is going to want to come here. Like I had, put that in my own head. And so being able to prove myself wrong with that was really cool. It was like, oh, this is good for all agents, not just people maybe where I was at production wise and then came here and grew. It's good for people that can come here with already a ton of business and then still grow.
What I love also about the way you're doing it, because what's cool is you've built processes into your transaction, right? So it's not necessarily that y'all are doing much more work. It's just that you're being more strategic with the process you're already doing. And then on top of that, I always say when agents are like, I don't have enough time to do this, I'm focused on selling real estate. I'm like, well, do you need to eat? Like, do you drink coffee? And the answer is always, oh yeah, I drink coffee, right? So what's cool is, again, you're building in, you're already eating lunch. You're just choosing, we talk about this a lot. The people who are really smart about money or wealthy, they focus on building multiple streams of income through one activity. So while you're selling real estate, you also have this ability to change lives through profit share, and you're eating lunch and you're making that a dollar productive activity. So I think what the strategy that you're implementing is so smart. And at the end of the day, it's about helping people. And I think that's why you're probably having great success.
I love it. I love it. Have you noticed, Brittney, like some of the people that have come over, has it been long enough? And have you noticed, and now you kind of begin to see their lives change too?
Absolutely. So there was one that was really early on, and I did the same thing and I didn't even recognize it at the time. She was getting her license and she knew of me like through my husband. It was kind of a random, she reached out and had said, it's funny, we looked back at the messages not too long ago because her life is completely different than it was before. And in the messages, she was like, I just want to talk to you about real estate, and I was like, oh my gosh, for sure. Like, let's meet up. And we did. And now she started selling real estate in her small town in Nebraska. And she does almost like 99% now of the real estate, and has now moved into Kansas. She got her license in Kansas because she was on the border. And now she's like blowing up this real estate. I mean, it's insane. And I'm like, I get goosebumps thinking about it because I'm like, oh my gosh, like if we had never had lunch, God only knows where you would have ended up. And like, it's just a cool, like, it's just so cool. It makes you like want to go be a cheerleader for everyone. And that makes me so excited.
Well, and you're changing lives. And honestly, that's how you have to see profit share as you're going to build wealth, but you're going to change lives in the process. I always say in all my hundreds, I did a couple hundred transactions when I turned my team over to my brother-in-law. And I never once had a buyer or seller look at me with tears in their eyes and say, thank you, you changed my life. But I've had lots of people that I sponsored into the company look at me and say, you not only changed my life, but you changed my family's life. And that is significance, and nothing beats significance. Nothing, money, nothing else beats significance. So good for you. And I love it. What I love is I love the joy that she has in doing this. I mean, if we could get all of our Profit Share Mastery members with this kind of joy, man, it would be amazing.
Keller Williams would blow up.
Yeah, we'd blow this place up. I love it. I think this is so amazing. So awesome. Good.
Brittney, is there any, just in closing, any last thoughts you want to share? Because, we've got lots of different people from KW to not KW listening to our podcast. For those who are in KW and are listening to you, and it's really inspiring to hear like how you're taking ownership of profit share, what advice would you give to them to take the next step in being more purposeful about you can do this?
Yeah, I would say be authentic with it. So my team name is Arrow, and it's spelled ARO. The A stands for authentic relationships. And that's the way that this whole thing is, I never sugarcoated it. I don't say to people, I always wanted to be at KW. That's not the truth. There's a whole story behind it. And so being authentic to who you are, and, it kind of reminds me, of anything that we do in our personal lives, which is like, we have to fill our own cup first before we can pour into other people's cup. And so it's not selfish to go build the business of your dreams, go build the business that you want, make sure you're absolutely crushing it. And then it's so easy to pour into other people out of your cup when it's overflowing with all the things that you wanted to go do. That would be like my thing, is like, just go crush what you're doing. And then it's so easy to love on everyone else in your world.
I love it. Love it. That's awesome. Well, I could talk to Brittney all day, Press.
Yep.
Awesome. So, first of all, Brittney, thank you so much for joining us today and talking about our favorite subject, profit share and changing lives, and exposing people to this amazing company called Keller Williams. And thank you guys for joining us today at Profit Share Mastery Podcast. Remember, if you have a guest or information or questions about profit share that you'd like for us to talk about on the podcast, reach out to us at info@lindamckissick.com. Be sure and share this podcast with as many Keller Williams agents as you can. We want to just light this company up with people that are as excited as Brittney here on changing lives through our amazing gift of profit share. And if you haven't heard about our Profit Share Mastery course, be sure and check us out at profitsharemastery.com. We just added some new websites that Press and Josh and I have created for recruiting all the great new agents before they get to any other company. And remember, we were all new once. And so check those out at profitsharemastery.com. Brittney, I can't tell you how much I can't wait. I'm going to call Mark and tell him thank you immediately. Can't wait to meet you in person somewhere someday. And Press, I guess I'll see you next time.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Brittney. Thanks, Linda.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.